Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to start a little series of videos embarking on finally completing your bag for the season.
Yeah.
Get the kind of clubs that are up for grabs, the little spots that are up for grabs, the question marks you've got in your mind right now about set composition and things like that. We're going to start to firm those up. We chatted on the live on Monday about what those opportunities may be. You're really comfortable with driver and 3-wood right now.
Yes.
Irons are in good shape. We may look at those later this year if a potential new iron comes out.
Who knows?
From Titleist perhaps. And we've looked at kind of wedges as an opportunity, putter as something that can always be firmed up.
Definitely.
But this utility spot in the bag, shorter than 3-wood, longer than 4-iron.
Yes.
That spot is up for grabs.
Definitely. I've got a few rounds under my belt, and it's not that I don't ever hit good shots with this driving iron. I do like it.
Yeah.
But I think when I get out on the golf course with some of the issues I have in my swing, leaning the shaft a bit too much, taking the loft off of it, I'm finding that even if I hit a good shot with this, it's 2 feet off the ground kind of thing. It's kind of one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the first opportunity this year, I would like to probably, at least in the meantime, try something that probably gets the ball in the air a bit easier, spins a bit more, and isn't so high maintenance kind of thing. I have to hit this perfect to get a good shot out of it.
Yeah, there have been times when this has been a great little utility for you. I remember you made a trip at the end of last year and you came back and you were kind of,
Totally.
saying that this was your club of choice. You were loving it. But they do, it's a bit love-hate relationship with driving irons for you.
It can be. I think depending on how I'm striking the ball, I think at the time my strike pattern was a little bit more centered heel side, and I wasn't leaning the shaft quite as much, so it was working well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had an endless off season, so I've kind of come back to it. I think I'm getting a little lazy with that handle dragging again. So I'm not saying it's forever, but I think probably for the good part of this season, it would make sense for me to move away from this for now.
So we're going to pit against the driving iron a hybrid and a 5-wood.
Yes.
Something that's in a lot of people's minds always.
Definitely.
Which one do they go with? Which of the 3 options? Because every one has its own value, has its own merit. But hopefully today we can discuss the types of players who should lean towards one or the other.
Definitely. No, that sounds great.
Okay, right. Let's get some baseliners with yours. We've got some dots on there so we can see a little bit about the dynamic loft, the delivery characteristics that either make this work well or why it maybe struggles sometimes.
Okay. Very typical shot I hit on the course with this. It's hit well. Knuckly.
So a little variety of shots.
All over the place.
That kind of, this is exactly what, has led you to question, the performance of the particular club.
I feel like if I don't think about it and I just swing, I hit the shot that I ducked in the bunker just now.
Yeah.
It's super low. I feel like I kind of hit high in the face, and then I'll go the next swing, I need to get the ball in the air, and then I will hit that giant high block in reaction to it. I just don't feel like, there's obviously a million things I can work on in my swing, but while I'm doing that, I can't really use this without a ton of effort.
When you picture this particular club in this particular shot, what does it look like? What does the flight height look like? What shape does it
I picture it something that is probably like a good 100, 110 feet in the air. If I want to knock it down, obviously I can play with the ball position.
Yeah.
But something that takes off a little bit higher, maybe like, I don't know, 13-ish, 14 degrees and spins in the mid to high threes.
Mid to high threes.
That's kind of what I would like to do. And as I said, it has to be a perfect storm for me to actually hit that shot, especially on the course. Like I just don't get it very often.
Do you see it as a draw or a fading club?
I would say the stock shot I would like to hit probably just a little bit of a fade.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to, again, into the wind, if I wanted to knock it down, maybe that shot would draw.
So let's hit a couple where you kind of feel like you get that handle working right past the right pocket. That should really get that start line more to the right. And I think that's exactly how you should see it as well.
Right. Yeah, it's a better swing.
Very close.
Happier with that flight for sure.
Yep. That was a much nicer flight. Yeah, I love that.
Better.
Love that.
That's nicer, isn't it? So I think that's a better swing for sure with that little tip you gave me. It's just interesting, like even when I do that, it feels like I'm kind of barely getting the ball up in the air.
I know. You're right. I mean, look at how it's come out. So your kind of launch window you spoke about was, around the 100 feet mark, but in 13 launch, mid threes. It's came out 10.3 and 27. So
yeah, I just don't feel like I can make a better golf swing than that. Like that felt like quite a good swing, and I'm still like 20, 30 feet lower than I would like it to be.
As someone who gets the ability to be very in tune with the feel of their golf swing and the result, because you're always on the launch monitor.
Right.
You feel now in the course when you go out and see that ball fly low, you feel like you're squeezing it, the handle's being pulled forward.
Yes.
The dynamic loft has been affected. We'll look at that there.
Super low, isn't it?
And it's not overly steep either. So the spin loft is lower than we see your driver.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
So
that makes sense. Because I felt like I played yesterday and I felt like I had an easier time with my driver. Like even if I kind of leaned a few with the driver, I would get a decent flight out of it. Yeah. Whereas this one, it was just kind of straight into the ground.
And really, until we spoke a little bit about controlling the hand path, making sure that it kind of exits a little bit more around and kind of turns the corners, they say, your path was moving a lot to the left. So you would have been subject with this club to the block and the hook.
Totally. And that's what I see on the course all the time, left and right.
Okay. So that's the benchmark for what we'd like this club to do. Let's move into the hybrid and see if you have an easier job with that.
Certainly wasn't the best strike, but
look how much more you get away with.
It's so much easier to hit it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So much easier.
So in this particular hole, you've put yourself in a great spot. You've got 94 yards in and you've missed it. I think that's a big part of the driving iron conundrum for people.
Can't miss it, especially that one felt high in the club.
Yep.
And it, again, a bunch of ball speed came off, but it flew more or less the way you'd want it to. That felt way nicer. Ooh.
I don't know if it's left the line yet.
That's the kind of flight that I really like the look of.
So if we compare what really we're getting out of those two, obviously we can see the height difference straight away. You get a little bit more ball speed through the head construction of the hybrid.
Yeah.
That's on offer for most people. Another reason why we don't really encourage the kind of weekend warrior, the average golfer, to go with the driving iron.
Yeah,
You'll get a little more bang for your buck out of the hybrid.
Totally.
Height is achieved much more easily. Now the end result is not a staggering difference, but the journey to get to it was very different.
That's nice. Yeah, just way easier. My misses are way better, and the good ones fly much higher and straighter.
Launches up a little bit, spins down a hair, but you're sitting right where you would want to. 4,000 is bang on.
Perfect.
It then behaves as you would expect it to. It doesn't behave like a 3-wood. It doesn't behave like a short 3-wood in the mid 3,000s. But it behaves exactly like a hybrid. Good stopping power, good kind of apex to that one. We talked about being at about 110 feet in height, and that's 121. Averaging right now about 110.
That's perfect.
Okay, let's have a little look at 5-wood. We did test these a while back, the Epic Speed range. You actually got on really well with the 5-wood.
I like this a lot.
More so even than the 3-wood.
Definitely.
This kind of performed a bit like a 3-wood for you. So I'll be interested to see whether, for the purpose of the job, whether this has actually a little bit too much horsepower.
Potentially, yeah, absolutely.
And in left-handed, unfortunately, there's not too many 7-wood options.
It's just the first thing I was going to ask you is if a 7-wood was an option.
Yeah, not many of them out there.
That's nice.
Really, really good.
Just feels very easy to get it up in the air. Effortless.
It kind of looks like you're on an autopilot with this one. You're just kind of cruising it into the fairway. I mean, 14 launch, spins came down a little bit. Speed is decent, 151.
I like that.
Love that. So you can see the little extra pop the 5-wood gives you there.
Oh, great
nice
bounce. Yeah, that was such a nice flight, though. I like that a lot. Yeah, I like this.
Easy.
Just easy. Definitely don't have to swing hard at it.
What's your carry number in 4-iron? 225?
Yeah, 220 or 225.
220-ish.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something we'll consider as well. You look like you're in 6 out of 10 effort mode right now.
Yeah.
Just gliding these into the fairway. I may feel like 5-wood we may have to think about 5-wood slightly differently. We may want to go slightly heavier in the shaft, go a little shorter, so build 7-wood length in kind of
That's an interesting idea.
7-wood build into a 5-wood in order to try and take a little bit of that yardage away. Because do me a favour, I'm going to move you a little bit more online.
Sure.
And just step on one ever so slightly. So
Okay.
just turn one back into the fairway with a little draw. Right, so you couldn't have hit a better one.
I see what you're saying though. Now, and this is an uphill hole too. Does it start to encroach on a 3-wood a bit? You know what I was thinking? Like this as an experiment sort of identifies, I think the wood head is something that probably suits me quite well.
Yeah.
Maybe a follow-up video at another time, we identify a 7-wood from a company that has left-handed ones, and then we kind of follow up the test. I really like the 5-wood in many ways, but I see what you're saying. Can it be a 240 club? Probably not without a lot of like manipulation, right?
Yeah. What does it say in the quad there? Because it will give us a normalized carry distance.
261.
261.
Yeah.
So 261, and you fly your 4-iron 220-ish. Quite the gap.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe slightly too big, for being all that comfortable. But
It makes sense though. It does make sense. Something with more loft and maybe a 7-wood shaft would be a bit shorter. Make the same swing, and then maybe we do carry it 240, 245 without kind of having to do too much.
So that might be one that we want to try and get off of ping.
I'd love to. Yeah, I think people would probably enjoy seeing a follow-up about 7-wood fitting more specifically. I think for me, there's hybrids that I don't mind, but I've never found a hybrid that I can hit as easily as a high lofted wood. Like a high lofted wood, I just feel like I don't have to do much. I just kind of make a swing, and because I'm leaning the shaft so much, I don't end up delivering all that much loft, but it comes out in like a decent window. So
it gives you a really good idea as to kind of what's going on there. So we can see the increase in ball speed as we progress. Obviously longer clubs.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a little additional club head speed, some launch angle windows, but quite interesting to see the 5-wood and the hybrid quite close to one another. I think as a natural fit right now, the hybrid is the best natural fit for that position in the bag.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's
really,
what I'll
really
probably do in the meantime. I still have an M6 TaylorMade hybrid. I think I'll take that with me to play next time.
Okay.
But I would definitely love to do a follow-up fitting with a high lofted wood and just see how that could fit in my bag.
Definitely.
Again, I'm going to work on this with my golf swing, but I don't want to be out there fighting it. If I want to find a fairway, I want to just take a club out and make a decent swing and get a decent result.
Exactly right. I don't think there's any need for anyone to work unduly hard from 240 yards out.
Yeah.
If that's going to be the carry number that we're trying to achieve here, you don't want that to feel like it's really hard work.
Totally.
It's good to get eyes on it though. When you're on the course and you start to go, this is becoming low percentage.
Yes.
It's becoming high risk, low reward at times. I'll back off it. I'll go with something else. Maybe I'll lay it up. We know from a strokes gain perspective, giving yourself the option to go for a par 5 and 2 and things like that, can really reduce your score.
Definitely.
Not if you start kind of, clanking a few and
you stop hitting it
into penalty areas and things like that.
I'll give you an example. The Mizuno 3-wood, I had more confidence in that. Like I had a par 5 that I was going for was about 250. I know that wasn't the right club for yardage, but I just kind of dialed it back a bit, choked down, and I was hitting it just so much easier. And that's a club with way less loft. And it just shows you, I guess, those center of gravity differences. Just the driving iron is meant for someone. It's just not me. That's all.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. Okay, well, let's experiment a touch further. We're probably going to eliminate the driving iron from a possibility for being in the bag right now.
Agree.
We're probably saying a standard 5-wood is also eliminated. We're not going to go through that route, but we are going to have maybe a modified 5-wood versus hybrid.
Something
and do like a little finale between those two and see which one earns a spot.
No, I look forward to that.
Like it, yeah, good. Okay, guys, hopefully that's a little insight. Obviously, you guys see clearly how good of a player Matt is, and this is a dilemma for him as much as it would be for you. So think about all these options. Don't just think that you've got to go driver 3 and 5-wood. You've got to go driver 3-wood hybrid. There's so many ways to skin the cat when it comes to these, and really doing it through data and through feedback, and obviously with shaft options and head options and through fitters like ourselves, that's the way to do it. So you'll get those yardages dialed in perfectly, so you have lovely symmetry throughout your bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good. Okay, stay tuned for that. We'll see you again soon.